Hey, it's Dan Holloway here, and I want to talk about a concern that a lot of us have when we think of starting an online business. And that is, do I have the time to get started? Do I have the time to do this? And I think it's a very valid concern. It's a very important concern as well, actually, because obviously when you're starting an online business, it's going to be hard work. You know, you're not going to be able to just click a few buttons and magically overnight start making revenue. That's not how it works. So with that in mind, obviously it is an important consideration to work out whether it's going to fit in with your lifestyle. So the way that I see it is, first of all, we all have 24 hours in a day, right? So Elon Musk and Richard Branson and Bill Gates and everyone else that is kind of the top of their respective industries all got the same time in a day. So really it boils down to a matter of priority. You know, what do we prioritize as more important than other things? And therefore, what are we going to spend our time focusing on, right? Now, if it's a matter of priority, the first thing that I did when I started going down this route was really looked at what I wanted to achieve. You know, what was the end goal? And for me, what I thought was the end goal was earning a lot of money and, you know, creating time and financial freedom for myself. But turns out I've realized that's just kind of the first step, because once you create financial freedom, you sort of open up your life, and that's when you really start to look at what do you want to do with your life? You know, what is it that you feel that you're here on the planet to create? And where do you want to, what's the bigger picture? What's the end goal? And something that I did, which for me was really, really powerful, was an exercise called the deathbed exercise. Sounds a bit morbid, I know, but what you basically do is you imagine that you're very old and you're in the final days of your life, right? And you picture yourself, and it might be an idea to actually close your eyes and do this now. So just picture that you're lying in the hospital bed, your family's around you, you know, time is running out, your each breath is getting harder and harder and harder, and then think back over your life, right? Think back over the things that you've done, the things that you haven't done. What would you want to achieve? You know, if you're about to leave this earth, this world, what would you want to have done? What would you want to leave as a legacy? What would fill you with the most regret if you hadn't achieved it? And when you really get this and you understand, you know, that one thing or two things that you don't want to leave this earth without doing, that's really the things that we need to work on. And once you know what those things are, once you know what you really want to, you know, dedicate your life to, or once you know what you want to leave behind when your time is up, you know that those are the things that you've got to focus on. So the next question is, well, if those are the things that we want to focus on, what do we need to do to make those things happen? What steps do we need to take? Right? So as an example, if financial freedom is one of them, and if you decide that creating an online business is a route to give you financial freedom, what you've got to look at is, how important is it that I achieve that? And for most of us, if we're truly honest with ourselves, if financial freedom fits into the path of achieving that one thing that we don't want to leave this earth without achieving, if financial freedom is part of that journey, we've got to make that a top priority, whatever it takes, right? Because we don't have an infinite time on this planet. We're all here for a finite amount of years, and we don't have time to wait around to get started on achieving these things. So here's the point, we bring this full circle. If financial freedom is part of the journey to achieve what you want to achieve in life, and if creating an online business is going to be something that will help you get to that point of financial freedom, really that there's nothing more important than spending time getting down that path, building an online business to get you to that point. And so the next step from there then is to look at, what are you currently spending your time doing each day? Because as an example, we all find time in our days to eat, you know, shower, brush our teeth, do things that we deem a high priority for whatever reason, you know, whether health, hygiene, you know, not getting judged by others for being unhygienic, or eating to stay alive. You know, these things we're prioritizing higher than a lot of other things because they're important to us. So when we can look at what we spend all our time doing, and we can start to realize, well, what is truly important? Are we doing things that actually in the grand scheme of things aren't as high a priority as working towards that end goal, we can then start to realize that, well, if we can find 14 hours in a week, so 2 hours per day, to dedicate towards building our future, well, that's obviously going to be quite a high priority task. Okay, so although we all have busy lives, and of course, you know, in this day and age, we're all very busy, we're all short of time, but it's just a case of prioritizing what is more important, what out of your current day-to-day activities could be sacrificed or dropped because it's less important than achieving that life that you want to achieve. So that's what the greats, you know, the Elon Musks, the Richard Bransons, and so on and so forth, they obviously focus and prioritize on the things that are going to help them achieve what they want to achieve. You know, you can't imagine Richard Branson spending a whole weekend in front of Netflix. And I'm not saying you do that, but some people would. You know, you couldn't imagine Richard Branson doing that because his priorities are focused in a different way, right? And therefore, he's going to set aside the time to do the things that will get him towards where he wants to get to. So really, to wrap this up, the thing that I'd say is, if the question is, do I have the time to create an online business? Well, if an online business isn't going to fit in with your bigger term goals, then it's probably not a high priority, and then therefore you're probably not going to find the time, and that's okay. Just be honest with yourself. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But if building an online business is a necessary step on getting towards where you want to get to, then there's nothing more important. You know, you've got to find a way to find that time. There's things that you're going to have to sacrifice to make way for this, because that's going to be a higher priority. So just sort of get realistic, you know, get clear about what you want to achieve. If this fits in with what you want to achieve, you've got to find the time, because it's a necessary step to get there. All right, hope that helps. Thanks very much for listening. And I'd really love to hear your thoughts as well. You know, any comments that you want to add to this, just pop them in the comments below, or reply directly to this email. Or of course, if you're watching on YouTube, because you found this video on YouTube, again, just pop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right, thanks very much for watching, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.